Hello guys and gals, me Mutahar, and I'm not excited for GTA Definitive, buckos, and by not excited, I mean ladies and gentlemen, my expectations couldn't be lower if you tried. Now ladies and gentlemen, if it's one thing I've learned about remasters and Rockstar games, is never get your hopes up. Now ladies and gentlemen, Rockstar has been making some pretty egregious mistakes on my behalf, but if it's one thing I want to say with positivity is Metroid Dread is a good time. If you haven't played Metroid Dread, I urge you to pick it up. I know some people be like, but Muda, $60 for a side-scroller. It's a good game. All right, it's a good game. I pay $60 for a good game. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Grand Theft Auto, the Definitive Edition right here. Not really. This is the Trilogy pack. It's one of my best physical purchases that I've ever made for the system. It contains the PS2 versions of GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas. Now, why would I buy that? Well, it's because I'm a big GTA fan, okay, ladies and gentlemen? I like Grand Theft Auto. I know that I like to crap on GTA all the time, especially with GTA 5, and especially because of GTA Online, but I am actually a huge fan. If I'm critical of something that hard, I usually am a really big fan of it, okay? GTA 3 was as explosive in the gaming scene as Shenmue was. Open worlds, day and night cycles, amazing music, and all the wanton destruction and violence a young growing boy would need. That's GTA 3 to me. I remember as a kid in the early 2000s getting my hands on that for the PlayStation 2 and everybody coming over to my house to get a good glimpse at how GTA was, okay? Everyone had a good old-fashioned Nintendo GameCube, but the GameCube didn't have no Liberty City. You catch my drift? Now, of course, I've grown up with these games, and every year I go back to replay GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas because they're that good, all right? GTA 3 included. Yes, they've kind of aged a little horribly in some regards. I'm looking at you, GTA 3, but it's still a good time to get back in. In fact, it's such a good time that Rockstar Games is releasing the Definitive Edition. I want to just watch this trailer real quick. Hell yeah, boy. Oh, God, that music. Oh, and then, ladies and gentlemen, we got some San Andreas. Now, of course, they don't have a release date for this kind of shit, but I figured I might as well show you a snippet of it because that's what really got me going. It's a 25-second clip, and yes, ladies and gentlemen, there's no better time to return to the good old Trilogy like before. Now, a lot of people have some weird misconceptions. I want to read something here real quick, okay? Somebody says, "Please don't fuck this up, Rockstar." Have you seen GTA Online, buddy? Ooh. Finally, something new. This is the audience that grew up with GTA 5, alright? This is the only GTA they know. This gameplay has got to be awesome. We didn't see no gameplay at 25 seconds. It's definitely going to be like GTA 5 engine. Imagine Liberty City and Vice City in 4K. They're setting themselves up for disaster. God damn, that is sad to see. Ladies and gentlemen, that is the GTA release. Now, of course, I wanted to go right to the Newswire. I'm sure some people have been reading Kotaku articles or whatever. I go right to the source in this case. I go right to the udder, and that's Rockstar Newswire, where they write Grand Theft Auto, the Trilogy, the Definitive Edition, and more coming soon. Later this month marks a very special anniversary, 20 years since the original GTA 3. I am old, okay? I feel bad at this point. God. And they're really hyping up GTA 3 and like the other equally legendary entries, Vice City and San Andreas. Let's be real. There's only one game to be excited about in this that hard. It's Vice City. We know. We like to extend a heartfelt thank you to all the GTA fans who have supported the game over the past 2 decades. Come on. You know the shark card ones are more important than us. Come on. So anyways, they got these 3 games coming on the Xbox Series XS. I hate the naming scheme. Xbox One, Nintendo Switch. Ooh boy, we can play rob the cars and drink appy juice at the same time. We've also got good old-fashioned the PlayStation 4 and the PlayStation 5 and the Rockstar Game Launcher on the PC. Yes, this will be a Game Launcher exclusive. The definitive edition will feature across-the-board upgrades. Oh, this one's where I really don't have any hype. Listen to this real quick. Including graphical improvements. Now, ladies and gentlemen, when I hear including graphical improvements, that could really mean anything. Now, I've heard that this game is running on the Unreal Engine. There's actually proof, apparently floating around, with the actual launcher on the PC having calls to GTA 3 Unreal, GTA VC Unreal, GTA SA Unreal, implying these three games are going to be running on Unreal Engine 4 or Unreal Engine 5, whichever one. Now, Unreal Engine doesn't mean that the game is going to look jaw-droppingly brilliant, okay? It's not going to look like Vice City has been remastered like this. No, it's not even going to look close to that. Ladies and gentlemen, it may look like that if it wasn't releasing on all these different systems like the Switch, like the Xbox Series X, and like the PlayStation 4. And in addition to all of those systems, it'll also be released on iOS and Android. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Unreal Engine is a great choice to pick because it allows them to really develop these games and scale them across the board for multiple systems. Have you ever seen Fortnite running on an actual gaming computer with ray tracing enabled? And have you seen Fortnite running at the same time in the same match on a mobile device like an Android phone? Yeah, that's scalability. And with GTA, the engines that these games use, like GTA 3, Vice City, San Andreas, the renderware engines are so old that if you go onto Steam right now and install GTA 3 and play it all the way through, it might remind you that Cyberpunk will be a finished game in comparison to what you're playing. These games are actually really old. Running them on any modern piece of hardware is going to invite you with some level of a bad time. Now, there are plenty of mods to pull the actual nails out of the urethra, but it's still gonna hurt playing GTA 3, Vice City, and San Andreas on a modern system, let alone a modern frame rate. There's so many mods out there, and there's a lot of ways to fix up the experience. But heaven forbid you play GTA 3 without any modifications or upgrades to the PC version. So with that said, when I hear graphical improvements, I'm almost wondering if that's just code word for we upped the resolution to 1080p or 4K or 8K if you're playing on the PlayStation 5 and Series X. See, we're that 10 head. Sometimes I think of graphical improvements like, hey, you can finally set the frame limiter past 30 and the game won't die. Fun fact, fun experiment. Load up Vice City on PC right now, turn the frame limiter off, and watch the game literally melt in front of your eyes. It is a fucking wild experience. So, modern gameplay enhancements for all three titles. So, unless we're talking about better camera controls, better auto-aim controls, better controls in general, I have to imagine if they're going to retouch up some of the weird missions in these various games. For instance, in San Andreas Rockstar, are you going to get rid of Zero's weird RC flying missions, or at least make them somewhat playable? For example, in Vice City, when I'm rescuing Lance Vance, I know, but Muda, you spoiled it. These games are fucking old. Stop it. Are you going to make sure that Lance Vance isn't going to actually blow his load and the AI around me is going to literally drive into my car like literal mini missiles? What kind of gameplay enhancements are we talking about? This is the sort of interesting aspect. These statements alone have led some people to overhype and blow the expectation beyond anything. For me, I'm honestly imagining my literal prediction right now is these will be the iOS versions of the game, the mobile versions that are already there. San Andreas, Vice City, and 3 available for iPhones right now will just simply be ported or copied over for this definitive release. Yes, that includes San Andreas on the iPhone. That was re-released on the PlayStation 3 and Xbox 360 and backwards compatibility to Xbox One, which is an inferior way to play San Andreas, that version of the game. Now, the other thing that I have to imagine is, will music be kept up? Music is a big part of these games, and it's one of the things that sets the mood and really brings the immersion. So, for instance, if you play Vice City, and depending on when you bought it digitally on PC, and let alone if you have it on like PlayStation or anything digitally at the moment, if you're playing those games right now on a digital front, you probably have noticed that certain soundtracks have been removed. Now, in certain cases, this is why, instead of the PC version, I just back up the PS2 copies and play them on an emulator, simply because everything is intact. For instance, when you leave Ken Rosenberg's office literally in the beginning of Vice City, you're supposed to hear Michael Jackson's Billie Jean as soon as you sit inside that cream white Admiral. Do you realize that you do not listen to that soundtrack if you bought the game recently digitally? That's because these games are so old that the licensing for the music is starting to run out. For instance, a worse scenario is if you play GTA 4 and you load up the Russian radio station, which is Vladivostok FM, it's actually completely butchered. Like, completely butchered compared to what it initially was. It's why whenever I play GTA 4, I play that game unpatched. GTA 5 is also getting so old to the point that some of the original soundtracks in that game will probably have to start getting removed. So I have to imagine, is Rockstar repaying for all these music licenses so that we have the original soundtrack in its glory on this definitive release? And if they do, will they somehow backport it to like the older versions of the games they still digitally sell? I don't know, but if they don't do that, it's going to lead to, in my opinion, an inferior experience. When I buy a remaster, I expect it to be better, or if you're going to call something the definitive edition, it should literally have what is at least in the original game. The other big thing that I have a concern about with Rockstar is the recent treatment that they've had towards fans who have literally been keeping their games alive. If you don't know, they used to have a project called RE3 and REVC, which is basically reverse engineered GTA 3 and reverse engineered Vice City. So basically, this is the ultimate form of game preservation. Modders and programmers sat down and actually reverse engineered the original Grand Theft Auto 3 and Vice City. Now, this was a big hoopla way back in the day. I made a video about it running on the Switch, but Take-Two, their parent company, sued these people, DMCA'd them. These guys then filed a counterclaim, and then the project came back. So we all thought everything was good until Take-Two then sued these people again, and now they're actually going to be taken to full-on court. This is like full David and Goliath, Take-Two's legal team versus these dudes' butt cheeks. And I don't have to be a clairvoyant to tell you that Take-Two's gonna cream on some butt cheeks. Legally, that is, of course. Defendants are very well aware that they do not possess the right to copy, adapt, or distribute derivative GTA source code. Now, this is where legally things become an issue. Reverse engineering isn't necessarily illegal if it's clean room reverse engineering, meaning that they did not necessarily copy the original source code from the game. That, unfortunately, doesn't seem to be proven in this case, and regardless, I'm going to go on not from the legal, but I'm going to go on with my personal take. I think it's bullshit that Take-Two is this hard on to remove reverse engineering projects of 20-year-old games. I have these projects saved on my drive right now. On my computer exist two folders, RE3 Master and RE3 Miami, respectively. I can download the game from Steam, drop the assets into the source here, compile them, and play a better version of these games. Yes, these modders literally spruced up old versions of games just so gamers can sit down and play them again. Games that probably weren't selling like hotcakes. Games that probably started selling more just because of these reverse engineered ports kicking through. Take-Two is a scumbag of a company, especially when it comes to the modding scene, and especially when it comes to preserving some of this stuff too. This is a company that literally, their games sell so much literally because of the mod support around them. GTA 4 literally kept selling because of the mod support. You can argue GTA 5 sells because of their online component, but GTA 5 also has a pretty healthy modding community. For Take-Two to sit down and get rid of these mods, I don't understand it. Oh wait, I do! It's so that they can sell you the goddamn definitive edition, and there ain't no competition. They can sell you the version they create, and you don't have the option of picking between the reverse engineered version. Ah, I get it, dude. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I really hope that these updated versions have an online component also attached to them. Something where I can also buy shark cards across 3 different online components. I should probably shut up right now, because if I keep talking, Rockstar might develop it. And ladies and gentlemen, I don't want to give ideas like that free away. I almost sounded like lead development over at Take-Two, lead development over at Rockstar. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the GTA Definitive Edition. I'm not terribly excited about it, but then again, will I end up picking it up? Probably when it's on sale for the Nintendo Switch. As much as I like to crap on Take-Two and Rockstar, if I can play me some Vice City for $20 on a Nintendo Switch, I'm gonna play some Vice City for $20 on a Nintendo Switch. On a side note, can we not have GTA Chinatown Wars remastered? I mean, I would love to play that game on the Switch. I would love if Rockstar remastered or remade GTA 1 and 2. Imagine those games as twin-stick shooters, all brought to life in an updated 3D engine with better lighting on the Nintendo Switch. That would be wild. That being said, though, I am out.